I am Pete for Mysticast, and today I am talking to Bob Denver, the owner of Mojo 107.5 and Bigger Country, right?
Right, 105.9. Yep.
105.9?
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm just going to give a brief introduction of Bob.
Okay.
And Bob was born in Mott, North Dakota. He's been on the air, on radio, pretty much throughout his entire adult life. It's been everything from on-air talent to now owning radio stations local to Bismarck.
Correct.
Cool.
In one shape or form, every radio station, I've either been a general manager or owner, part owner of everything in town. We just bought and sold. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
I became a general manager at 27 years old at Y93 FM. That was my first general manager's job, which was scary. But
Especially at 27.
yeah, I did not know what I was doing.
Everybody else look at you. Who's this new guy?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was the guy told me I was going to sink or swim, but they gave me the gig and went on to do some pretty good things. So
years later, here you are.
yeah.
All right. Well, I just got a few questions today.
Okay.
This shouldn't take too long. What hair metal band do I look like I'm part of?
Probably AC/DC. I think. Yeah.
I'll have to see if I can get a good
Well, yeah.
cover photo
Yeah,
of
I was
it.
going to say maybe an album cover or something.
That would not be hard for me to do. Is there a type of music, or what type of music either deserves a comeback or is underrated?
No, I think all the classic rock stuff is underrated. I think, when I watch Netflix or whatever, or go to movies or something, it's always a classic rock song that goes, way back. And, I think that's kind of, I guess it's an older demo now, and, it used to be the main demo, but I just think for, you walk into a restaurant or you go somewhere in the mall or something, or the gym, and they're playing classic rock. So I think it's kind of a uniform kind of format. So some heavier, some lighter. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then especially with shows such as Guardians of the Galaxy really bringing back the 80s feel.
Right. Yeah.
I think Stranger Things is also set in like the 80s.
Yep.
So that really pulled a lot of those classic rock from the 80s
Right.
to the modern audience. Is there any overrated types of music?
Oh, I think rap is probably overrated, but that's just me, So
Oh, yeah, of course.
I didn't understand Bad Bunny, but I give him props. He's won a Grammy, but Entertainer of the Year, so somebody must like him.
Exactly.
So, I'm not going to have any of his music, but so it's.
So, kind of along that lines, when you're planning for the shows, what kind of do you have a set vibe, or is it just kind of fitting in everything across for Mojo specifically? You have the, I believe, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Right. Correct.
Do you just throw in a mix, or do you have each hour be a little bit different?
No, we just throw a mix. So I'd say we dabble in 60s every once in a while. It'll just kind of jolt people's mind and say, oh, yeah, I forgot about that Doors song or that Beatles song. But there's no set format. We probably lean heavier 70s and 80s, but we still, play some 60s, just like I said, for nostalgia purposes. And they kind of, I can't remember what I was watching on Netflix a couple of weeks ago, but they played all like 60s in the series, and it was just kind of incredible. So,
There's definitely a lot of music that's come out of the 60s.
We have a bigger library than most stations. I'm going to badmouth the competition a little. They have corporate formats. Excuse me. And they pretty much send, and I've experienced this because I've worked for a couple of the big companies. They just send music out and say, here's what you're going to play, and we kind of mix it up and, just have variety and stuff like that. If you're a Mojo listener, you kind of have to know something about music. Because they're not going to play Cream or anything like that, or a lot of Eric Clapton or whatever. So you have to be a fan of music of that generation and stuff, because there's just too much canned radio now, with all the ownership being dominated. I remember they'd have a successful rating in one market, and they'd send us the music and say, play this. And I'm going, well, this is Bismarck. It's not Florida, wherever, like that. So I just believe in kind of having a free format and kind of knowing your community, trying to play music that people grew up with, etc. So rather than just have it slammed in there and say, you don't deviate this, don't do that. So, and that happens a lot. So,
Yep. And as we're talking about some of this older music, when you do, when you look at the Beatles, when you look at some of these others, is there any modern bands that you can think of that are ever going to reach that status where 30, 40 years from now, they're going to still be played?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, I'm my demographic, probably ends with the 80s, so anything after that, it's difficult for me to judge. I know people have different taste, and, I'll see somebody, late night TV, and they introduce them as, a musical group, and I go, I've never heard of them, but, it doesn't mean they're not going to be good. But I think that was kind of an era where things were just the Stones and the Beatles. They just kind of took over the music world, and I don't know if we're going to have that anymore,
Yeah.
So it's possible, but, I'm not completely sold on that, so.
Right now, AI has been a big conversation pretty much in every field. Mm-hmm. Why would AI be a terrible radio DJ?
Well, for one thing, it's going to take more jobs. But I smell this coming. I think that's the focus of the two larger radio groups, and we'll see it probably take over in the next few years. We went through a phase where we have voice tracking, where you can go tape a show. You can do a 4-hour show probably in 35 minutes and then just leave. And that's kind of taken over weekend programming and stuff. So there's hardly any part-timers anymore. We used to have to be live 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. to midnight every day, and have an operator in the studio, and that all changed. And then I think artificial intelligence is sneaking into the production commercials, and I'm guessing that that's where we're headed. So for a lot of companies, so we've dabbled in it with a couple of commercials, but we have had clients say, that's artificial intelligence. Isn't it just the way they pronounce Mandan instead of Mandan? So there are certain things like that. And if you throw figures in there, it seems to get confused and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be part of radio, unfortunately. But, hopefully, I hope it holds off and people still have live air shifts, etc. So
yeah. I know that recently Coca-Cola came under fire for having AI used in one of their commercials. Yeah. And then fans weren't too happy, fans of the brand weren't too happy when they continued to use AI after that. Yeah.
I see it more probably in producing commercials, than anything. But I think it's going to be a real cost savings for people. Unfortunately, we've already lost thousands of jobs in radio because of the consolidation. In the 1990s, they deregulated the industry. At a time, most people, you could only own one AM and one FM. There were exceptions that were grandfathered in that would have a TV station. Like here locally, KFYR TV had KFYR AM, and Y93 originally was KFYR FM. And now you can't own TV, but you can own a number of radio stations. So the two companies here in town have, I think, 5 or 6 each.
Yeah.
So that never used to happen, but they changed the rules. And then I think the government or FCC that oversaw that was a little shocked that a company called Clear Channel, which is now iHeart, bought up 860 radio stations almost immediately.
Wow.
So I think they thought, oh, maybe, Fargo and Bismarck are going to consolidate, but it went
everywhere.
It went wild, and they threw money at local owners that just, and I made money off that too, fortunately, but I didn't see the future. Then radio people, Clear Channel was made up of radio people. And then it kind of got sold, and then there were non-broadcasters in it, which kind of changed the whole rules of the game. So,
kind of the same thing about when stores get bought out by like investment firms, and then the original idea of the store turns to, we just need to make sure we're pushing a profit.
Right. Yeah. I forget the name. It was Mitt Romney's company that eventually bought Clear Channel. Bain and Lee Capital. That's what it was. And then that's when I noticed the focus of the meetings and stuff were, so we didn't know if we were selling commercials or selling donuts. It didn't matter. And their intention was to buy and then quickly sell for a profit, like maybe in 3 or 4 years. But we hit an economic bump, and that stalled it. And then COVID really messed things up. Everything. So
everything got messed up by that.
Yeah, but in hindsight, deregulation, you don't really see it really end up being good for much of anything. I mean, it's happening in TV and everything else, and so it's just, I'm not a big fan. I worked for those companies as long as I could take it, and then I got out, and we started this about 14 years ago. So, and it was all veteran broadcasters. Unfortunately, through retirement and illness and everything, a lot of people have peeled off. So,
I personally love to listen to Mojo and Big Rig, because I do like supporting local businesses, knowing that those jobs are here in Bismarck. Right. We're not outsourcing the morning show to, say, California or Tennessee or wherever these other hubs are located.
I think there's only 2 live morning shows in the whole town now. I think it's me and KFYR AM, Todd Mitchell.
Oh, okay.
And I think everything else is, these companies devise their own programming. They'll pick some of their talent, and then they'll just syndicate it. And then they say, if you got a country station, this is the show you're going to take. If you have classic rock, so that's already started. So, and it's kind of gotten out of control.
And I've listened to a few of them as well.
Right. Yeah.
They're good shows, but
Yeah.
It's not the same thing as having that local feel, somebody who knows the community.
And then we've lost our total control of local news. I mean, people don't. We used to have news departments, actually, and those have gone by the wayside. So,
now they just pump everything in from, if you're an NBC affiliate, it comes from NBC. If you're a Fox affiliate, Fox has control.
Or they don't do it at all.
Exactly.
Because the rules have changed. When I get into radio, there were a lot of, you had to do so much news and public affairs and all that, and equal time has come back in the news, politics. That hasn't been enforced for 15 years, I don't think, but now they want, equal time. And that will be hard to enforce, and I can't imagine doing it. If you're going to have a candidate on for 5 minutes and then you have to have his opponents on or hers opponent, it just kind of went by the wayside. So, so rumor is they're going to deregulate again.
Oh, man.
In radio, and I don't know about TV. I can't speak for that, but that was I thought that was going to happen this spring, and all I have is rumors, but
no action taking yet.
No, and they proposed it, and the NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, is in favor of it because, the big radio companies control the NAB because they have more stations. So the little guys, I don't have much say in it, and so I'll be interested if that happens, but I think they're too busy with other stuff right now. I won't get into politics.
It gets very spicy once you start getting into that category.
So I think that's down on the totem pole, but, right now.
Yeah.
So, but I have to have a lawyer in Washington, D.C. just to keep me straight with the FCC, and
just so that,
and she believes it's going to happen, and so we'll see. But I don't know how much more they could go, but
Well, I've just got one final question. Okay. Do you have a favorite phrase out of context where if you were to say it in context, it's fine, but you say it out of context just because?
Can't think anything offhand. I don't know. You got an example of something, or just? I mean,
because I tend to say stuff that I probably wouldn't be allowed to say on air.
Right. Well, we still have to be careful about what we say on the air.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're talking about. I mean, you can still get fined for certain things,
That is one thing about since we don't actually broadcast over the airwaves, we don't have all the FCC regulations, but our instructor here is like, hey, you want to keep those FCC in mind because you're preparing for a field that's going to be very heavily regulated on what you're allowed to say.
Right. Well, there wouldn't be a Howard Stern if they didn't have Sirius XM because they started clamping down on him with his show, which got a little out of hand, and so I think he was getting fined all the time. So I've been fortunate, never been fined. So knock on Formica or whatever this is. So, but yeah, can't think of anything I've ever done controversial. I know there have been several people who've gotten into trouble over the years on certain things, touchy subjects, but, my rule is, if people get caught swearing on the air, it's always, if you got people in the studio and you shouldn't because you're doing your show, it's always a distraction. Kick them out. Turn that mic on, pot it down, put your headphones on a minute before the next segment, and then you'll save yourself a lot of trouble. So,
Well, cool. Thank you so much. And to conclude, is there anything else you want to add to this interview? Anything you want to say to me or...
Well, first of all, I didn't know this existed, and I'm embarrassed by that. I mean, I've been living here for years and years, so I like this. This is, pretty cool. So I don't know what you guys are looking at in the field, what you want to do. You want to be on air, you want to be an engineer, or, whatever. So engineers are, by the way, highly paid, and I know that because I pay them often, but there aren't a lot of them around anymore. They kind of got out of the business when deregulation came.
Yeah.
People said, oh, we have 2 stations, now you got 7 to take care of. So they went to work for, whoever. AT&T or whatever.
Yep. I can say for sure we have a pretty good mix of students here. We use this lab here for our video production Mysticast, and that just produces 4 shows every semester. We put those up on YouTube.
Oh, all right.
Our radio program next door, students make a show every other week.
Okay.
And then we also do live talk segments on the air during class time.
And you said you're online, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look that up.
Our website is just bscmyx.com.
Okay.
Our mobile app is also just bscmyx.
Right. Okay.
And that I personally am taking a digital broadcasting certificate. So this is only my 2nd semester, but it's also my last.
Right. Yep.
I will have the broadcasting experience from working on the TV side and the radio side. And then the rest of my classes, I've done an audio production class, working with a lot of Adobe Audition, taking that kind of stuff.
You bring digital up. I'll just comment on that real quick. I don't know why radio and TV have all of a sudden gone digital crazy. I don't know what they're ashamed of in their own product that they have to sell digital on the side. We have a radio company here in town that claims they're digital, and that's what they sell first. And then, oh, by the way, you get some radio ads. But I just don't understand. The product should be good enough to stand alone, but I think they know there's digital dollars out there, and if they can control them,
They're probably trying to get anything they can out of the...
And to me, it's harder to prove that digital's working as it would be compared to ratings for radio and TV. So, but that's the way it is. It's money driven. So we don't go too far in it.
Yeah.
I'd have to add another person, and I'm not real savvy on the digital end. So, but that's kind of where they're going. So
BSC does offer that certificate, like
Yeah.
I mentioned.
Yeah.
A lot of students within these two program classes, a lot of them are mass communication students.
I would think the digital is an advantage to have, you know.
But yeah, the digital definitely helps out us.
Right.
Our school newspaper, they've got the digital copies as well as physical
Right.
copies.
Yeah.
And then when we put out our stuff, whether it be through YouTube or all of our sporting events, we broadcast using Vimeo.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are very much looking forward to broadcasting from the Bavendick Center once it opens.
Yeah.
Brand new space.
I can't wait to see that. So looks like a beautiful building outside. I'm sure the inside.
Oh
will
yeah.
be-
As far as I know, they're on the finishing touches. We should see it open within the next 2 months.
One of my hobbies for exercise is, and when the weather's nice, I take off from the Bismarck Y and I walk up here. I kind of time it out to about 4 or 5 mile walk, and I just enjoy it's a beautiful campus. I mean, when I came to Bismarck, there were probably 2 buildings up here, and I had a cousin who taught here, and he came for a family reunion and said, "Whoa, it's turned into a nice campus." And I know that there's more students involved.
Yeah,
enrolling. So
we have seen record enrollment. I think 3 semesters in a row now.
Right. Yeah.
And then, but yeah, you go to the back, up in the National Energy Center of Excellence. Their stateroom up top has windows that face right over the Missouri River.
Oh yeah,
it's gorgeous.
It is. Yeah.
Our new building next door, the Advanced Technology Center, just opened. This is the first year it's been opened.
Okay.
And our live event venue is incredible. The capabilities that it gives us
that's good.
is huge. So yeah, now that the Armory is being replaced by the Bavendick Center for Athletics, we're seeing a brand new building there, increasing enrollment. Our move from the junior college level to the NAIA, so more of a 4-year university conferences. We'll be welcoming our football team in 2027.
Yep.
That was a big deal. We're pushing more and more into, hey guys, we're a big deal here. Yeah. We've got a lot of stuff going forward.
I think people have noticed. That's why their enrollment's going up. It's NDSU and UND are one thing, but I think here in the central part of the state, this has probably turned into one of the finer institutions. So congratulations on that, everyone. Thanks for having me this morning.
Thanks for coming on, Bob.
Okay, no problem.
And there we go.
Okay, can I see your radio studio?
Of course.